Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tonight, our first neighborhood is the Riverside Neighbor Council, and the face you're very familiar with, Gary Pollard, the chair of the Riverside neighborhood.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you. Well, good evening, Council President Stuggert, Neighborhood Council President. My name is Gary Pollard. I chair the Riverside Neighborhood Council, and we've had a very good year. We really have. One of our first achievements, by the way, the pamphlet that was handed out to you is a copy of our annual report that we have provided to our members, and so it's at your disposal to peruse at your wish, and you'll see under our mission or statement just a general overview of our board of directors, and you could see that we're pretty much every branch of our neighborhood, from resident to property owners to developers and business operators are included, and as our board of directors and our advisors on the assorted issues that come before us and eventually before you. Probably one of the biggest things that we have achieved this year was, like all neighborhoods, we started off the year with new ways of dispersing community development block grant funding. We're an older neighborhood that we're one of the original 13 CD neighborhoods that our funding was allocated by our CDBG steering committee, and that was pretty much where the responsibility ended, except now we have new roles with the neighborhood council becoming more involved and having more of a say-so, and also the funding and the program itself was distributed to all the neighborhoods. So it's been more widespread. So how are we going to do that? That was the problem we had to face, because we have members on our steering committee, CDBG steering committee, that have decades of institutional knowledge, and a dedication to what they do, with a heart for what they do, for caring for what they do, for the low to middle income bracket, and to help make our neighborhood improve the quality of life within our neighborhood and development of our neighborhood. How were we able to hang on to that core and that group when we needed them so much, rather than start off blind with so many people playing catch up? Because the entire period was a matter of learning and changing and educating the membership, and a very complicated issue. It really was. First thing we did was we took our CDBG steering committee and converted them into a subcommittee of the neighborhood council. Their tasks, their desires, and the work they did and are still doing would not change a bit. They would keep on meeting and discussing and making recommendations like they've always done. And that was a big asset for us to be able to come to some very good decisions. But now we have the neighborhood council involved, and all the members there that really didn't even know anything about what was going on. So many of them didn't, because it's just not anything that's on their priority list. So how are we going to do that? One of the things that we did, and what we really did, and it was very successful, is we set up, we changed our bylaws to allow for electronic voting, e-voting. And we also needed to comply with the open meeting law set up by the state. So we set up a process in which we could satisfy all. Our meeting laws are, our new method does comply, and I had this checked out through attorneys and assorted staff members at the city and individuals who were familiar with the open meeting laws to make sure we complied with all aspects of that law. We wanted to set it up for e-voting because to allow time for applicants for funding and allow for the steering committee to do their job in a timely manner and still be able to reach our final decision and submit our recommendations to the CHHS board in a timely manner. We did that this year. It was extremely successful. It worked very well for us. So that, to me, as a neighborhood council, is probably our biggest achievement, although there were very many more. We were also partially involved with the Grand Hotel, where we could step forward to help ease that along its way. We did, and I understand that they'll be beginning to take reservations sometime in the next month or so, which is good. The Red Path Hotel, even though it's a little bit of a snag, I expect that to move forward quite well in our neighborhood, with quite well in their endeavors, and it's really going to be a big asset for our community in so many factors. We did receive periodic neighborhood public safety update, and I've just received this as of the December 27th comp report. Violent crime in our neighborhood is down 23%, 15% reduction overall. We've added 9 NCOs. Our police precinct is open Monday or Tuesday through Friday from 8 to 6. And that's always great news. And later on, you'll be hearing from our Greater Spokane cops, and I'm sure they'll be able to give you further information on the state of public safety. Downtown is safe, folks. It is. The only problems are usually between people that know each other. Stranger to stranger problems is very rare, very rare. We know that coming up sometime in the not too distant future, we're going to have to be working on stormwater collection system that our neighborhood will be pulled in. So we started preliminary studying on that. Riverfront Park improvement, we are part of the Riverfront Park improvement plan. And now for the photos. No.
Just go to the photos?
Yeah, go right to the photos.
Okay.
Cleaning from the core. Very successful operation. Once again, this is our 3rd year in a row. Every year it gets better. I cannot tell you how much trash was collected, except it was a lot. The graffiti cleaned up, the street cleaned up, and we're already started the process for the coming year. It's a citywide event, and our neighborhood gets the benefactor. Thank you. A night out against crime, very successful. I need to give a big shout out and a tip of the hat off to and a big thank you to the Downtown Spokane Partnership, to our Spokane cops, to the Downtown Police Precinct, especially Captain Brad Aldrich, the Fire Department, and Lutheran Services, ONS, and the Community Housing and Human Services. They all participated. We had well over 100 guests and visitors that stopped off at the assorted stand. And it was a very hot day, and I really want folks to understand, to hear about the Umpqua Bank. Here was a very warm day. Temperatures was in the 90s. And they came out with a little frozen cart stand. It was just full of popsicles for kids all the way up to seniors, children of all ages, and handed it out and participated. And that was cool. That was neat. That was really neat. For our cleanup, on our cleanup campaign, we primarily do dump passes in our neighborhood. It's the one tool that seems to have the most success. Aside from what the clean team has picked up and what throughout their normal chores, due to our dump pass program, we were able to collect 7.5 tons of assorted trash through our dump pass program. We also had a fire prevention class in the fire department. On the assorted community services that we've been involved that are connected with the citywide, it's Community Housing and Human Services Board. We serve on the Affordable Housing Subcommittee. We served on the Convention Center Citizens Advisory Board, and I just read online that their work is just about done, should be completed by mid-February of this year. We're also involved with the University District Board, the West Quad TIF, Downtown Community Development Steering Committee, as I mentioned earlier, and our Greater Spokane cops. Getting back to the CDBG, by expanding our funding, one of the things that we were able to help out that we were especially pleased about was to help donate request $7,000 to Lutheran Services for their to upgrade the security for their violent crime victims of violent crime, for sheltering and so forth, so that they're protected, and as well as Women's Heart, Greater Spokane Cops, and the First Harvest to help them with their commercial dishwasher. The coming year, thanks to a lot of the work that you've done and some of the ordinances you've passed, we expect more development in our low cost and middle income housing, to see some of our older buildings start to be refurbished and come back to life. And those are really, truly a gem and an asset to our city. They really are. I've had people from throughout the country just admire our historical skyline, and you're making an effort to put those back in use. I thank you. Next coming year, we're going to be able to have a light watercraft boat launch underneath the Vision for canoes and so forth. Also, a tremendous asset. Excuse me for my frog in my throat. I think it was, anyway, I thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Thank you for all your work for the city, Gary.
Well, thank
Actually,
you.
I do
Thank
have
you.
one.
Oh, Councilman Allen's got a question for you,
Gary.
Gary.
Yes, sir.
First off, thank you for your years of service. I mean, there's a lot of folks in this room I've seen for years coming down here and being part of the process, so thank you for your years of service. This last year was the first year that Sit and Lie was enacted in the downtown area. As somebody who lives downtown, did you notice any difference in that?
Sit and lie?
Yeah.
I think the problem with the sit and lie is that most people who are opposed to the sit and lie don't really understand the entire process. What I really enjoy about the sit and lie is that for the most part, people who are cited or not necessarily cited, even warned by the police department, they get into the system. They eventually go to the municipal court that's held at the library. And what's really great and what I really like about the program was, yeah, sure, you go before the judge, but all the darn social services are there. They're representative. They're lined up like there's tables all over for low-cost housing, for food assistance, for clothing assistance, for mental health assistance, for emergency assistance, for general health assistance. A lot of the people who get caught up in sit and lie are people who need help. They just don't know where to go. This is a great tool for getting them the help that they need and to perhaps get them off the street and to become a worthwhile product to our society. Yeah, I endorse the sit and lie law, but not for but for those reasons, because it shows people, it gets them involved with our social services. I think that prior to that, you'd have a lot of people who were staying at our shelters or would just be vagrants and new in town and didn't have anywhere to go. And like most cities, they would just wander around. Didn't know where they were going to go. We didn't know where the next meal, unless it was to maybe the House of Charity or something like that. And then what are you going to do? Okay, I woke up, here's the new day, I've got a full belly, I've already eaten, now what am I going to do? And to live like that every day, day after day after day after day, eventually it affects your mind, and you become institutionalized. You need to break that. You need to break that mold. You need to break that system. You need to just put a break in that and get people back into the mainstream to realize there is another life, the life they had before they ended up in the lot they're in. And that's why I like the sit and lie law, because it directs people to these social services that are there to help, and they're ready and they're willing and they have the information and the know-how. And I think it's a terrific ordinance. And I thank you for asking.
Thank you, Gary.